What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is August 25th of 2017. Alright everyone, so let's go over a real quick market recap and talk about what's been happening in cryptocurrencies over the past week. We've had a lot of big changes, and we were actually right on a very big calling this week in relations to South Korean markets, pretty much right before a lot of the major money came into the coins we were discussing. Along with that, I want to talk about some really good cheap buys and also some major trends I'm seeing in a lot of the favorites that we talk about in this channel. Predominantly some of the long-term holds we have, as well as some hot ICOs at the moment in the cryptocurrency market. So let's go ahead and jump into the analysis, but as always we got to start off with the big dog itself, Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been rallying. Okay, so we saw what appeared to be a wedge and what was eventually going to be a breakdown in Bitcoin. I've been kind of talking about this for quite some time on my channel. If we go here, the price action was wedging inward. We had generally a double top here around the 4,400 area, and then we had a pretty hard sell-off, and volume was really starting to pour in, and a lot of people thought, we were going to retest even lower price ranges. However, buyers came back in instantly to fill those sell orders. It was absolutely phenomenal to see how quick Bitcoin made a rebound from this sell-off. It really looked like this was going to be a pullback that we would see over the next few days, and we would get a pullback to the 3,000 area with how fast things were selling, or at least down here to the 3,400 area like I was calling. However, it didn't go all the way down there. It went around to $3,600 for the low and instantly rebounded within a few hours and held, and then slowly started to curve up, and the price action's gone in. Now the volume, of course, this is standard with any kind of upwards movement. Usually the volume after the big breakout candle kind of slows down, and it shows that there's less volume propping this price up. It's not something to be extremely worried about, but I will tell you all, I think what we're going to see is one last good kind of run up before we get a serious correction in Bitcoin. And what's the number I'm thinking of? It's 5,000. Now, I'm not being negative on Bitcoin in the long term, but I will say in the short term, it's becoming obviously clear that, the big evens matter. We saw that at 3,000. Over here we saw 3,000. We pulled back all the way to 2,000. 1/3 of its value taken away, just like that. And we can see that, probably 5,000 is going to be a big level, because we know that the big evens matter. We talk about it all the time, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. And with this kind of exuberance where, if you're curious about this new green line, I'm going to start using this on Crypto Watch when I look at Bitcoin and a few others. This is the 21 day. I've talked to you all about using that with kind of momentum movers, and Bitcoin has been a Momo. It's been a market momentum mover. It's been absolutely killing it right now. So I think that we need a little bit of a pullback with all this exuberance. But what we're technically seeing right here, folks, is, I know this seems like it's kind of crazy, but I really think we might still have some room to go in the long term of things, because this is pretty much what we saw back, if we go back. So I'm trying to get my chart to adjust. Crypto Watch doesn't have all the price history of Bitcoin, but as we can see over here, the price action in Bitcoin, where we went from around 100 to 200, and pretty much 5x value from 200 all the way up to 1,175. So that was a huge jump up in Bitcoin, and people were calling it crazy, and then we had some serious pullbacks in it. And I think we'll see a lot of the same thing, because if you look at it in an exponential sense, that's what we're experiencing right now. It's just that there's a lot more money going into it, and a lot more people who are willing to pay much higher prices for these Bitcoin now that it's there's higher demand. So that all being said, I think that we're going to see 5,000 over the next few days, meaning Bitcoin's going to go up a little more than $450. And we're going to, hopefully see some resistance there, see a pretty drastic sell-off, kind of like what we did back here. Both of these sell areas around 3,000, where we could really see a nice big pullback in Bitcoin and really open up an opportunity for altcoins to rise, and then also get some Bitcoin cheap if you want to add to your portfolio. So that's it for Bitcoin. Just real quick before we jump into some other coins, I want to say that CoinMarketCap each day has been hitting higher and higher levels, folks. The optimism is pouring in. When we had the pullback in Bitcoin, this was looking like we were going to get a pullback in all cryptocurrencies, or at least altcoins. Maybe would have a scene to come up, but instantly rebounded. I think that anyone's using these opportunities to buy. People are optimistic, and the volume has been very, very stellar in the industry right now. So definitely something to keep an eye on. And now it's time to look at our market movers, our watch list items. And I want to talk first and foremost about your favorite, and my favorite as well, NEO. So a lot of you are curious about NEO, and you're like, should I lock in some profits? I bought in down here, what should I do? Folks, what indicator I have on here is the 21-day moving average. I've been talking about that. That's a momentum indicator, and if it can stay above that, it's most likely going for new highs. Look at the sell volume here. It's not only slowed down extremely, there's been a ton of buy volume over here propping this up. So a lot of buyers got in for the long term. And of course some, what some people call weak hands. I wouldn't call it that. Some people like to lock in profits, and that's fine. And some people lock in profits up here. However, you see how we're starting to curve here, and right along the 21-day moving average. I don't think it's going to wait for the 50-day, folks. This one is excessively optimistic. There is a lot of money flowing into NEO. There is a lot of updates going on with NEO. They just actually did a complete rebranding on their website. Everything looks spectacular. I actually did a redo on NEO. If you haven't seen that new video, go check it out. I think that's really good for those of you who are potentially considering NEO for the long term. But that's what I'm doing. I'm considering it for the long term. I'm not trying to swing trade this anymore. I already made the mistake of getting out around the 500,000 Satoshi level from down here, or sorry, it was around 550,000, where I made pretty much a 100% return. And, it was a great return, but I missed out on a lot of opportunity. I'd still be up more if I just would have hodled, if I just would have held on to it. And I think what we're going to see here is a continuation of new highs. We're going to start seeing the Ethereum style run up faster than most people think. And going here to CoinMarketCap, I really want to emphasize, it's only at 2 billion, folks. If you think it's going to go anywhere close to Ethereum, you still have 15x, meaning it's going to go up 15 times of where it is now. That doesn't mean, if you really believe that, it isn't overpriced. It's very low. So definitely keep an eye on NEO. Next point I want to bring up is Ripple. We've been talking about Ripple as a potential candidate to blow up, and man, did it go up this week. I got to say, not someone to really say I call things in the market. I'm no market whiz, but I did my research, and I did the video, and I told you all, Ripple, Litecoin, and Ethereum Classic, which we're all going to talk about today, were candidates to get pumped up by Korean markets. Big buyers coming in and buying mass amounts of volume as, no one really, a lot of people thought it was just with Bitcoin Cash, with mining. Folks, this is large institutional investors getting into Ripple. Now, the reason as to why they are, no one can really know. We know that predominantly it's usually on the eastern part of the world that a lot of the optimism comes into cryptocurrencies and a lot of the money has been coming from, whether it be on the mining scene or on the investment side. But you can definitely tell from just going to CoinMarketCap and looking at the exchanges, the mass majority of this volume is coming from South Korean markets. Now, we're looking at this on Bittrex, of course, but there is even more money that has come into Ripple on Korean exchanges. Simply just take a look at it, folks. So, in the sense of analyzing Ripple here and really trying to see where we could go, I wouldn't want to look here at the daily. The daily, it's kind of an interesting chart. It's kind of hard to interpret on a technical standpoint. We got over the 200-day and now we're sunk back below it. We're definitely not down here at the lows, though. We've maintained a lot of the gains as much as we're not at the highs. The one thing I want to look at is the hourly here. Now, what I had was the 200 SMA. So when we were looking at the daily chart, that was the 200 daily moving average. Now we're on the 200-hour moving average. Now, if we look here, we got some serious support. We've double bottomed at this range. There's generally a resistance point up here at around the 5,200 level. We saw it over here as well. But there's also a little bit of a support range in the hourly here around 4,500. Yes, 4,500 Satoshis. What I think we could see here is if this stays above this 200 hour and we start to see this curve up back above this, we're going to see the continuation of the uptrend. With how much volume is at stake with this cryptocurrency, I think that we really could see Ripple continue back towards its highs. Now, I'm not going to make a massively large position. I'm more optimistic on Litecoin and Ethereum Classic after having such a run-up. However, like I said, if you could see this kind of flag out on the hourly and come down here and start curving up, you could really see a breakout towards the highs over the next few hours. It just needs the volume. And institutional buyers, if they see that price confidence on a technical standpoint, they really might consider adding. The money is all that matters, though. We really need to see the money come into this. And that's what's going to give us the opportunity to get up here and then possibly go to new highs. But depends if Korean markets are going to continue putting money into to Ripple as well. So we also have Litecoin here, another one of our candidates we talked about, and man, did that have a breakout. Now, I did take a little bit of a partial share in my Litecoin. However, we can see that, as I told you all, this is a long-term holding for me. I already told you all my strategy from the trading cryptocurrencies for intermediates video on how I'm actually approaching Litecoin and at what levels I'm selling. So I'm still holding a pretty decent amount of my Litecoin, and I'm hoping to sell, you know, and really sell my final partial share up here a little bit above the, a little bit under the highs. I'm still optimistic on Litecoin. I'm taking more of a kind of hodl approach. I really like this one long term. And it's as simple as really just buying low and selling high in these markets, folks. We're waiting for the Bitcoin pullback and for a lot of money to rush into these other stable players. Litecoin is a long-term play. And if we can get it, you know, a really good breakout candle and stay above this 200-day, that's the important factor. We do not want to break below this 200-day. You can see that we found support there after coming up from under it, and we're now maintaining above it as support around this level that we've seen previously. So if we can continue to get the volume that we've seen just a few days ago in Litecoin, that's really going to be the determining factor. And I think so long as it remains above that 200-day, we're much more likely to see it. So I'm still holding Litecoin. I'm optimistic on it. You just got to give it that time to really break out. But really not much technical analysis we can do because we need just a big breakout candle. And once we can get that, I think we're going to continue and maybe get it kind of styled run up like this where a lot of volume starts coming in. But we saw the second largest day of volume history in Litecoin the other day with South Korean markets pouring money into this. So you can tell it's serious business. Alrighty, next up we've got Ethereum Classic, another one of the ones that I talked about. Now this one hasn't reacted as much as Ripple or Litecoin. However, I will say I'm still up on it. I bought around 340,000 Satoshis on Ethereum Classic. And we can see that there seems to be a little bit of a resistance at the 200-day. So what you want to see here with Ethereum Classic, in my opinion, is you want to see a curve up in price action and really get above that 200-day and close above it. We haven't done that yet. We haven't even stepped over the 200-day in the sense of price action, but once we can get that nice green candle above the 200-day, that's going to be a very good sign for Ethereum Classic, and I think it'll be a good play. I'm very optimistic on both Ethereum and Ethereum Classic with the coming update, but in my opinion, the price action here speaks for itself. It's still well above its lows, and we found support here that we had in the past. So you just got to look at general support levels, folks. Simple support and resistance levels can go a long way. You can see that we had resistance up here. Where did we have resistance before? Right there. You can see that this is a head and shoulders pattern that we saw right at the top of Ethereum Classic. It's a lot of it's very simple stuff. You don't need to be some, you know, technical whiz at it. And, you know, I'm definitely not a technical whiz, but I know my stuff in the sense of price action, and I'm still optimistic on it. I'm up on Ethereum Classic. I'm going to hold it. And I really think we could see a test somewhere up in this range. So I have my personal sell level set, and I hope you formed yours as well. And if you want to learn how to set that, again, I'm going to refer you to my trading cryptocurrencies for intermediates video, but make sure to watch the beginners one as well, first and foremost, so you can really get an idea of how to really do all this technical analysis jargon if you want to just, you know, not have to listen to me and do it on your own and do it yourself. So on to the movement of ICOs. I want to talk about 10x. Now 10x is one of my favorite long-term ICOs. And I got to tell you all, this is exactly what I wanted to see on the daily chart. I wanted to see a nice, you know, kind of more long-term drawn-out pullback, but you can see there's no drastic sell-off here. We're still maintaining well above the level here where we had the last breakout. And this is what I think we're going to see. The one thing that did disappoint me before I move on to that is, you know, I use the 21-day moving average for market momentum movers, and sadly, we broke through the 21-day. Now, that does not mean that I'm like negative on it, you know. So we can't use the 50-day yet because it's not available to us in the sense of price action. There hasn't been 50 days of price action. So what I think a lot of people are going to be using is really just simple support levels. I think you're going to see buyers waiting for a pullback down to this level around 70,000 Satoshis. And if you can get a nice solid bounce off 70,000 Satoshis, I think that this could really continue back up towards the highs. There's a lot of optimism in 10x, folks. I know this is very simple, but I really think that is the case. We've got almost kind of a descending wedge here with the price action. It's something I have to kind of deal with that. You usually don't want to use these kind of breakout wixes when you're doing technical analysis. It messes up your charts and you can't really find patterns. I mean, this is pretty much a descending wedge right here. It's a common almost kind of flag in the pullback of price. And I think that the volume speaks for itself. We had a lot of buy volume over here, and on the days of pullback, we're not getting any major sell volume. If you wanted to, you know, if you thought, for example, that 10x was a pump and dump or something like that, if you thought this was just, you know, some people coming in and manipulating the price, it would look like this, so the run-up we have here, and then it would literally drop pretty much all the way down. But we didn't see that. We've seen a nice pull up like this, and then we saw a nice pullback to the side. It's much different. That is a common pullback in technical analysis, and that's a very important thing to have if you really want this to run up in the long term. So we'll have to see how 10x does, but I'm definitely adding my position at these lows. It's much better than buying up here, folks. If you really want to get some optimistic price action and 10x, you're going to start down here. So definitely consider it for a long position. Another ICO that I'm optimistic on, and I like at these nice lows, at least for the temporary time being, we can see that Civic has had a wonderful run up, had a lot of volume. And again, with 10x, look at the volume down here. Not much on the sell side. It's just been kind of holding here and kind of, slowly trending down after we had this kind of blocky period. People were wondering if this was going to go higher. No serious technical pattern we can get with this, but I will say, this is definitely a nice pullback. You're not buying at 20,000 Satoshis. You're buying much more around 10,000 Satoshis, almost a 50% pullback. So for the longs on Civic, I wouldn't sell if you've been holding since down here. I'd look to add at these positions and hopefully see a bounce upwards towards the highs and maybe a breakout even higher. Because Civic is a very nice niche. I did a video on Civic if you're interested in learning about what it's trying to do and what it's trying to propose. I really like the whole idea of what the concept that Civic's going for. And like I said, definitely check out the video because I think it's going to be a long-term winner. I'm sad I didn't put it in any of my top, my 5 retirement portfolios. I really might consider doing some more portfolios and put it in there because I do love Civic. It seems like they've got a great sense of tech and team for what they're trying to do. And last but not least, Lunar, which I talked about in my top 5 coins for September. Still optimistic on this one. Now, I got stopped out on the trade that I was trying to do because I thought that it would hold here at the 300,000 Satoshi level. However, we sold off a little bit below, but we've held on the 21-day moving average. Again, the Momo indicator that you want to watch for in markets. This ICO, which came out not too long ago, back in May, is trying to be a Wikipedia for the blockchain. And I really like what Lunar's doing. I think it's a very simple concept, but it's something that could get adopted very quickly, and it's easy for the developers to deliver on. So I love how it's holding this 21-day moving average. I'm thinking about getting back in, and the big thing I can tell you all right now is this was no pump and dump, because look at the volume here, okay? Each day, there was around $2,000 to $3,000 in Bitcoin traded for this big run-up. The sell side didn't see anywhere close to that, around 800. And then each day, after that, look at how little the volume is. The people who bought in aren't selling. They're holding. Whoever bought into this, who was probably a very large-scale investor, telling by the amount of Bitcoin that was bought on it, whether it's a mix of investors as well, they're holding it. They're not selling Lunar. The price action might be, definitely negative. It's dropped more than 50%. Nothing's changed fundamentally, though, in the sense of, optimism on the side of the buyers, or at least the big boys, who are really propping up the price here. So I really would keep an eye on Lunar. I'm thinking about, like I said, re-adding to my position, and you could see over 100% return in this. Wouldn't be that hard for this to really double. It would be somewhere up in this range, but it's been there in the past. So I kind of love how it's curving here. It's kind of cupping down along the 21-day moving average. So definitely keep an eye on Lunar. I think it could be a winner for the ICO market. Definitely the 3 that I listed, 10x, Civic, and Lunar are probably my favorite candidates for ICOs right now. Alrighty, everyone, that's pretty much it for coin coverage right now. I want to know what you all think about the markets right now. Do you think we're going to see Bitcoin go to $5,000, and will it break right through $5,000, or is it going to see some resistance there? Is there too much sellers on the side of $5,000? Are we going to see any of these ICOs or the coins that we covered continue to go up? Do you think they're going to go down? You got a coin that I didn't cover inside the video that you think we should watch over the next few weeks? I'd love to hear your comments and feedback in the video comments down below. But until then, everyone, I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.